Welcome to the Bleep Bulimia podcast with guest ZuZu. And I'm really super excited to have uh, it's Karen Arm, but she's known as ZuZu. I love that. And she is educating people on how to prevent and reverse dis-ease, which I love the way you said that, ZuZu. Thank you for being here. Um, I I'm going to start off like I always do. I just want to know what led you to this journey that you're following now.
Well, I am definitely one of those who, in our world of natural medicine, many of us have had our own health excitement. I grew up with epilepsy, three medications. And then when I got married at age 21, I wanted to have children, but I didn't want my children on those medications. And like most of you, we were around before the World Wide Web, which meant we went to libraries and we read books and we studied, right? That's what I did and was able to reverse my epilepsy using food. And that's kind of when it started. I was like, wait a minute, what else aren't they telling us? If I was able to get off of three medications in 3 months and I've never had a seizure since because it was just an electrical system wiring issue. And when you fix the wires and you get healthier oil in there and you close up the synapse and the dendrites and you work with the nervous system, it can restore itself. And I was living proof of that. And so then I just further started studying about heart disease and cancers and any issue. And that just took me down an incredible journey. I started having children, opened up a health food store, then opened up a wellness center, then opened up another health food store and another wellness center and a couple cafes and educational centers because that's my game. I just want to educate. So if there's anybody in the world I can help through education and taking that fear out of how their body functions, that's what I want to do. And so that's what led me to do this and continue to do this. And we do currently now. My daughter joined me. One of my daughters, I have 9 daughters, and one of them joined me, and she graduated Johns Hopkins. But we run Holistic Health Educators, which is an online school of natural medicine. We have a very big quest, and that is to merge Western and Eastern medicine for good. About a third of our students are doctors and nurses, so they do take our courses because we teach what they didn't teach in medical school on how the cells function and how the body functions and natural therapies. So it's been really neat. And then just for fun, we decided to open up a 69-acre retreat center and ranch. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like 58. I should not have to do all this work. I should go play with my grandkids more. But anyhow, so here I am, literally right before I got on the show, though. I was shaking the hay out of my hair so you can't see it on the screen because we're just working with some of the horses. Anyhow, so that's my life. So
That's absolutely beautiful. So I was fascinated by your story, and really like this Lilyfield retreat center. It sounds like heaven, honest to goodness.
it
Uh,
is.
and wow, that's a lot to accomplish, and it's beautiful that it was based on you learning in a library. 'Cause-
Yes, in the library you can, yes, yes, in the library. I That's one of the biggest concerns I have right now because everyone's out there on TikTok and social media believing all these paid influencers. You guys remember they're cute and have cute big breasts, but they're paid influencers, you guys. Unless you find one who's real and not paid, just be careful because we are having a lot of influence from the powers that be to do X, Y, and Z, which they don't really care about your long-term health because there's no money in healthy people. So it's not like they're all going to give you some great answer. So you stop buying their products and you don't need anything else. So just like repeat business is where the money is, guys. So there's no repeat business when you cure your cancer at home or you reverse your epilepsy or you reverse scoliosis or you reverse arthritis or you reverse narcolepsy, right? There's no money in that. There's no money in healthy people. Not even for me. So if someone comes to me and they have a thyroid disorder and it's gone in 3 months, well, that's it. I'm done. And that's okay with me. That's what I want to be doing. So yeah, it's a time when we need to be very careful, especially with AI coming on the scene. And you cannot count how many times I have put a health ailment in that I'm an expert at. And I look what AI says and I'm like, oh, dear Lord, please don't ever share that with anyone because that's not true. There's a lot of misinformation right now. So people have got to be pretty careful. That's for sure. Mm.
Feel like, okay, so funny enough that we're talking about that. I am taking an AI course actually on all of the AI because I want to know because like
Yeah.
education knowledge is better than, oh, I don't like this and whatever. Um, just quickly, I created 2 books, and they were water damaged, and I personally drew them, painted, wrote them. I still them, but they're water damaged, so they were never completed. They're completed, but they were never sent out or anything. I actually did ask. Okay, so there's a few, but ChatGPT, can you recreate my book? And she did. She actually did do.
Yes.
So there are positives to it.
Yes.
And then I have
Yes.
Claude. I love Claude because I go, oh my goodness, I have to do the work. I have to keep my expenses. But then I throw them at him and say, okay, I have this that I want to pay off. How can you do something for me? Because that just takes
Yes.
away like 3 hours of my my day. And it
Absolutely.
so you're absolutely right. But what I love about it though, and particularly in Claude, it always says he may not be exact. He may not like give you the proper answers precisely. And that's exactly what you're saying. So as much as they can be a benefit to people, they're not
Yes.
always accurate. And that's where people just need to know. Wonderful tool, but that's what they are. It's a tool. It's not absolute. And they will,
Oh, it's wonderful. I
right?
use it for fixing things and figuring things out all the time. But when it comes to your health and what you're going to put in your body, you may want to consult somebody who actually knows all that, because the information that they're gathering to make their database is what, peer-reviewed journals, which I mean, a lot of those get pulled after 10, 15, 20 years, sometimes even 2 years. So they're not basing their answers on what we know in the natural world actually works to reversing disease. So you will find some closed AI systems, like we use AI in our school, but I have a closed AI system. So the only thing in the AI system is everything I've written, everything all the doctors and practitioners that we work with have written, all of our videos, so everything that's in AI we control. So then when you go, hey, how do you get rid of POTS or PCOS? Boom, spits it out, you know exactly what to do. So our students love it because they get to use it and they know it works. It's all coming from all of us who already have helped so many people eliminate disease. So there are some closed AI health circuits that work beautifully. So yes, I'm so glad your books were recreated. You've got to be so happy about that, LaurieAnn. Oh my word, that is so great.
Night, believe it or not. So I'm super excited. I think I was up a little bit too late. I'm sitting there going, waiting for it recreated exactly how I sketched them. So there's the other thing. That is not AI creating my cartoon character or anything. That is recreating something that was damaged and
Mm,
without me having to spend all those hours to do it. So
yeah.
there's the positive and the negatives. People who use it in a negative way, I'm very sad about, but I've learned, and the more that I learn about them, because I call them because there's a lot of different AI units, uh,
Yes.
the more I appreciate it. But we're not talking about AI here, we're talking about people. So um, I'm just trying to link this to my audience. So when I'm talking about, so bulimics, they rob themselves of a lot of nutrients. It can be very damaging. I'm very lucky somehow, other than I'm sorry to say, but my teeth, the rest of me has seemed to heal very well after, you know, quit. I don't even know what I quit it. I quit being bulimic 15 years ago. I just did. And I don't want to call myself recovered bulimic because I don't feel like I'm bulimic anymore. It's like, okay, here's a funny thing. I divorced. I don't feel like I'm a divorcee. I feel like I'm single. So when people
Right.
ask, like, I've gone, it's been 20 years. Come on. Like, I'm not divorced anymore. I'm just single. So the same thing with my bulimia. I like to refer myself as, um, I'm not anymore, but I lived it. So uh, with your health and so on, do you have anything to speak to my audience that might help?
Yes.
And maybe even them reaching out, which I would love for them to reach out to you if they feel that there's a connection here. So go for it.
Yes. And I mean, number one, our bodies are amazing. They really are. And no matter what stage of bulimia you're in, you're still alive. And this is beautiful, right? You still get to wake up. You get to hear birds. You get to see a sunshine. If you have sunshine, you get to still interact with human beings. You have a lot going for you because you've already made the choice to wake up again. So there's this amazing analogy that you hear about all the time in the health world, that you're in parasympathetic mode or in sympathetic mode. So we're going to talk about that for a minute. So parasympathetic is rest and digest. We're calm, we're happy, we can think about, we're planning a wedding, we're planning tomorrow, we're making whatever we're doing, right? We're planning, we're living for something in parasympathetic mode. If the tiger comes or the big bear and he's in your backyard, like, right? And then you go into fight or flight, which is called sympathetic mode. When you're in sympathetic mode, then all the blood rushes to your arms and your leg, and you don't think straight anymore. And you literally don't. That's why they would put people into sympathetic mode. And any of those shows, remember, I'm sure they still have some of those where you're like, what is 17 plus 18? You have 30 seconds. No one knows. They can't. They screw it up all the time. And they do that on purpose with the lights and the drama and the music and the audience and the stress, because they know you can't think. So when we get into that sympathetic mode, our bodies stop functioning properly. They just do. We stop thinking. All the blood is not in your digestive system. The blood is not helping you reproduce. You're not thinking about making love to your sweetheart. Like, none of that's happening. You're just like, oh my gosh, how can I run away from the bear? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do to stop this? So interesting enough, our mental state does the same thing. And people probably don't know that. They can be stuck in parasympathetic your auto mode, what you're speaking, what you're saying, right? So what you're speaking, your autogenic mode. And it's called, it's auto association. And so you get stuck in this so you can be in right now, everybody listening, you're in parasympathetic, auto mode. So we're associating things that are calm, and we're happy, we're noticing the birds, the bees. But and that's called a free state. When we're in the free state, we have the ability to make great decisions with our mind. Many times throughout the day, we go into confined state. We get stressed. And then we go into sympathetic auto association mode. So now we're in sympathetic mode. We shut down, we close down, we get nervous, and we don't think straight. That's called confined. So just write those words down: confined and free. Are we acting in a free state or a confined state? Oh, there was one time years ago, I was so upset. There was this woman who was saying all this crap that wasn't true. And I thought, I am just going to settle this, right? And I had to go to where she was working to pick something up anyways. And the whole way there, I'm like, Karen, you shouldn't go in. Karen, don't go in. Karen, don't go in there. Karen, don't go in there. Everything's not going to be okay if you go in there. But I went in there, had to pick something up, and I avoided, but then there she was there, and she started something, and then things weren't good. I was definitely acting out of confined state, right? Instead of my free state. Now, mind you, I'm not a Karen, and it happens probably once in the last 20 some years. So I'm able to recognize, because I teach this, when am I in free and when am I confined? But I've definitely been in a confined state. How do you not? When you're running a farm and running a business, you're all working, you have spouses, you interact with people, you interact with the internet, you have to listen to politicians. Like, we have plenty of people that irritate us, and we can choose to get into that confined state. And so when we get stressed out and we get worried and we're watching the news and we're doing this with our social media, we can choose the path of being confined and stressed out, or we can choose free. Okay, stop reading, put Spotify on. Go listen to some really good upbeat music. There's a choice that needs to get made. And just as there's a choice with our physical bodies, I'm going to eat this, or I'm not going to eat this, or I'm going to eliminate this, we need to recognize that there's a choice with our mind. And back in the 1911, 1912, a big shift happened. We had two big shifts happen. One was the Flexner report came out, and 80% of all natural therapies needed to get removed from all the hospitals in America, or the attendees could not become medical doctors and wear white coats and use pharmaceutical drugs. So that's what happened. The new medicine that was petroleum based came out, and Rockefeller and Carnegie were like, okay, here's a new report. All of you who don't get rid of 80% of all of your natural medicine, you can't become a member of the AMA and get your white coats and graduate as a medical doctor. So boom, we lost almost, I think, every single one of the colleges for Blacks. And that's why we don't have a lot of Black doctors still to this day, because they weren't going to give it up. They're like, are you kidding? This stuff has worked for thousands of years, honey, or using it, right? Well, the same thing happened in our system when it comes to psychology. There was Freud and there was Adler. Well, Freud, I don't like that man at all. I'll never quote him. Well, only to his dismay. But Adler, now that's where things change. Freud was blaming your parents, blaming how you are, blaming your instinct. You're all sexual beings and you just want to rape all your kids and disgusting stuff. Like, he's a sicko. Adler, which is now what we're actually experiencing. I can't imagine what the world would be like had we followed Adler back in 1911 instead of Freud. But now we're at a state where we're coming back into a consciousness and we're thinking about our brain. And we're like, wait a minute, we have choices that we can make with our brain also. We're not these animals that are just driven with crazy passion. We're actually human, and we can actually rest our mind and make decisions. And so I just think that's really cool because with the physical body, yes, we can be craving one thing, we can choose one thing with our physical body, we can be in fight or flight, but we can be in sympathetic. But something magical happens when we think, my gosh, that happens in my brain. And I wanted to share a little tip. And the tip was when you get into confined state, like I was when ZuZu was driving to the hardware store, right? When I get into a confined state, like I did years ago, I should have, and what I do now is I question, just ask questions. Ask questions like, I wonder how the grass gets green. Things that are totally unrelated to what you're doing, right? I wonder if that person is wearing underwear. Like, I don't care what you're asking, but start asking questions and you are going to be floored as to how your mind can switch. And so whether you're active in a eating quandary, I hate the word disorder because I don't think it exists, but if we're active eating a way we don't want to be eating right now, or eliminating a way we don't want to be eliminating, or living a way that we don't want to be living right now, asking questions can help us snap out of that. Even works for pornography, right? This is called displacement theory. But there are times that we can just start questioning, we can start asking, we can start wondering, and it takes us from a confined state into a free state. Because now, how do birds actually fly? And then go like research it on ChatGPT, right? or use your AI. But like, how does an egg hatch? How long does it take? Like, think of the craziest things, and you will see that you will flip from confined to free that quick. I'll use it at night sometimes when I wake up, when I should be sleeping, and I'll be like, okay, ask some crazy questions. Why does the fern grow? And even if I forget to water it for 3 weeks, like, it doesn't matter. Our mind is so powerful. And I had a daughter that had an eating disorder. She's wonderful. She's still alive. But it was definitely something that's close to my heart. One of my very best friends in the world had a horrific eating disorder. And she shares her story all the time. If you've not heard of Hope Zavara, Zvara, she actually owns Mother Trucker Yoga. And she shares her story to inspire people. And she actually won Trucker of the Year. Like, she's amazing. And she doesn't even truck, by the way. She just helps all the truckers in America. And she's even like in a Kenmore new truck. The fancy display has her. You can press a button and you can do stretching and core functional fitness, right? But Hope went through some tragic things, losing a daughter that led to a lot of her issues that when she had them. And she talks about that. So it's not that I don't recognize what people go through with their mind. It's that there are some new things that are transforming and becoming available, and tips, tools that we can use to much quicker than psychology and going to a therapist and getting on drugs. Oh my gosh, don't even get me going on that, because that totally destroys the gut. And for those of you who may not be fully aware, and this can be another conversation that we have at some point, but whenever we have tendencies with our mind to think negatively or do negatively to us or others, or feel depressed, it is a gut issue. It's 100% a gut issue. It is always, always a gut issue. Unless you're being beaten and horribly abused in a cage, right? Then obviously that's outside influence as well. But well, I'm sure they're not feeding you well. So, but the gut is literally how we can help change our mental state, because what we eat and digest, and we make so many neurotransmitters in our gut. And and when we have things like we've walked through bulimia, we've walked through an eating disorder, we actually do undermine the gut quite a bit. And so getting and working with somebody who can help stabilize the microbiome, getting some testing done, it's going to work hand in hand with you starting to question and and I call it getting out of SANS, right? Sympathetic auto systems, getting out of SANS into PANS. We want to get in that nervous system, that sympathetic automatic nervous system, right? Autonomic, right? We want to get out of that into PANS, where we're parasympathetically thinking, we're autoing, we're talking, we're saying things that are more positive, and we're questioning, and we can flip from sympathetic to parasympathetic simply by asking questions. That will relax the gut, which then will relax and release more acetylcholine, but then that will calm the body down to help with digestion. So there's this whole system. And for those of you who don't want to eat or want to eliminate what you're eating, at least get a really good fiber blend. One that we love is called sun fiber. Drink that with water, because this is extremely crucial. And I don't know if you have people on your show that have talked about this. Why you're hungry is because you have bacteria that are hungry. If you feed the bacteria, it will stop your cravings for food. So bacteria lives off of fiber. That is the only food bacteria can eat is fiber. And so when you have fiber in the body, and the more diverse the fiber, the better. So you can take different fibers. Some fiber has quite a few. But when you take those diverse fibers and you feed the bacteria, it can stop the hunger pains. It can stop some of the cravings for food. But here's the kicker. As we increase the diversity of the bacteria in our gut, our minds shift. You won't believe the difference we see in children by putting them on specific strains of probiotics, how much the mind can shift. It is absolutely astronomical. It's incredible. And so that's what I wanted to get to, is that we have these choices that we can mentally make, but physically, we can also be putting fiber in our drinks, and we can be feeding that bacteria. We could eat a smoothie or eat a salad, things that process very quickly through the body. The worst thing for eating disorder is meat and dairy and cheese and grain, because that takes 30 hours to shift from point A to the toilet. Fruits, a couple hours, won't even be anything in the stomach, right? Vegetables, few more hours, that's it, they'll be gone. So when we are consuming fiber, the bacteria eats it so quickly and all the rest of it just comes out through the body, and the fiber that's left comes, cleans out the colon. So those are just a couple things that I had in mind when we were going to talk today, is just mentioning this shift from sympathetic to parasympathetic by asking questions, constantly asking questions. We calm the body down. And then but ask nice questions. Like, don't be asking questions about politics and all the terrible things that might be going on in the world right now. Please don't look in. I mean, we have to be aware of it, and we need to pray a lot and send lots of love and good vibrations, but you can't influence that right now. None of you listening have influence over what's happening in Gaza, horrific things that are happening with all those things involved. We don't have personal influence right now. So don't ask questions about that, but ask questions about your immediate environment, your plants, the people you live with, your animal, the light bulb, the computer, what cotton does, why shouldn't you wear polyester? Like, I don't know, ask questions about you, right? Ask fun questions and learn, but then take some fiber to help feed that bacteria, because that does change your mental state. Healthy bacteria growing in the body will always increase the mind into a healthier state, always.
I love that. You know what? It just reminded me of a book I read, and I don't know if it was called Hello God, This is Anna, where there was a gentleman who met up with this young girl. I think she was very young. Um, but the cutest thing was that she used to be intrigued by everything. And I think about that book actually quite often. Like, she would ask, like, how fast do bumblebees' wings go? And how is it that a bumblebee can fly when the wings are so small and the body's so big? Like those things that when we were little kids, we were so fascinated by. And as we grow older, it's like, no, that's just a kid thing. Who cares about that? No, I do. Like, what is that flower? I'll take pictures, and of course, I'm sorry, but AI stuff will actually tell me what it is
I
now.
love AI for that. Don't worry at all. Don't be sorry. I love it for that.
So using AI strategically for good things is a wonderful thing, and those are things that I I mean, I don't have to go to the library. Not to say that I don't love libraries. I did spend a lot of time in them when I was younger, um, but it's just fascinating to be able to find something that quickly. We're very lucky about that. So your question can come to you a lot faster than you don't have to. You're curious about something. You've got something, a companion, so to speak, that can do that and find your answer sooner. So that's why you should even be more curious, because now your answers come immediate. It's like pretty
Yes. And they're enlightening and they're fun and they can be different from one another. And yes, but it gets you out of your mind. It
well.
does. So it does.
And I love that. And by the way, to my listeners who don't know, because some people don't know, most people do, but there are some people who don't know why ZuZu said she's not a Karen. Unfortunately for ZuZu, her beautiful name Karen has been sort of tarred with. It's associated with women who are mean and just angry all the time to everybody else. And trust me, to every Karen out there, I'm sorry that ever happened to your name, because I know that I mean, my name is LaurieAnn, but when I was younger, I was called Laurie, and they used to think of a truck. So, it's awful when your name is associated with something that is not beautiful. But ZuZu is absolutely beautiful. And Karen, thank you for sharing that. And to let the people out there who know Karens, please give them a hug and say, I know you're not one of them. So it's like, I don't know how that came about. There's something I'm going to look up. How did that happen?
It was New York. It was New York, and there was a lady screaming about something, and her name was Karen, and it became, well, here, the Karen out there, and then it just kind of took off. So what do you do?
Well, I just absolutely love this. I just need you to give us a little bit more information about where you are, how people can find you. This retreat sounds just lovely. I never really, here's something, I traveled a lot when I was a kid, so I'm really okay just staying home all the time and being staycations all the time. But this was one thing that I read about, and I thought, wow, that just might be something I really might consider doing. That sounds interesting. So please let our audience know about all the wonders of where they can find you.
You bet. Well, we put everything on one website. We have our own websites as well, but if you go to zuzuunleashed.com, you'll be able to find Lilyfield Center and Holistic Health Educators. Lilyfield Center is in Hawkinsville, Georgia, a couple hours south of Atlanta, and that's the retreat center and the farm. We're building a regenerative farm where people can come and learn how to garden, how to save seeds, all sorts of things as families. It'll take a while, but we're still building it. We have a couple Airbnbs on the property, and we definitely have retreats, which are amazing. We do some really transformative retreats. So yeah, we really love what we do. We love what we do. We love what we share, and we keep growing. We've got the wellness center here, so people sometimes they've come for 6 weeks and they just stay and get well and enjoy good food and lots of good therapies. And sometimes they just come for a day or two. So that's what we do here. And we have organized retreats. Those are usually once a month. Sometimes they've been twice a month. Then we're taking the summer off. But then we've got a couple of them coming up starting in August. So yeah,
Beautiful.
ZuZu Unleashed. I have big email lists, and I'm switching over now to social media. So we are finally out there in social media. So you'll be able to find us. A lot of the podcasts are on Holistic Health Educators YouTube, and then I have an Instagram page that I actually just started. I just converted it, and so I'll start posting every day on Instagram on ZuZu Unleashed. And then there's a Facebook page, ZuZu Unleashed. I don't do much on there on the Facebook. I just put links to some of the podcasts. But that's where we are. I guess we have a TikTok. I didn't even know I had a TikTok because someone else is posting for me on that. I don't even know how to get out of TikTok, but anyhow, so we're getting there. We are getting there. But I honestly, I pay people to do this. I don't get any money for podcasts. This is what I do for free. And it is a lot of money actually that we pay every month to get information to you. Because we want people to feel edified. We want to help people so badly. So it is definitely something I've chosen to do at this stage in my life because it's my calling. I feel it on my heart all the time that when we can help people get out of fear of dis-ease in the body, it just changes their life. And none of you should be afraid. And I know you are. I know a lot of people who deal with eating disorders are. It's part of that. That's why the number one thing is to buy some fiber. Just feed your microbiome a diversity of fiber, and really avoid some of those harder, like I said earlier, meats and dairies and grains and sugars. Avoid those things. Those are all acidic and they're not good for the body. But fibers will feed you and they'll feed your mind, and it'll be easier for you to switch from sympathetic to parasympathetic. And I'm excited to share that.
That's beautiful. Now, you were talking about, was it sun fiber?
Yeah, sun fiber is one of the fibers that we sell in the store that we really like. It's very easy, there's no taste at all, and it helps feed the bacteria. So when we're dealing with children and people who have a hard time doing a lot of vegetables, we at least get them onto that. Mhm.
Okay, so they can find that on your website. It'll take them to the store to order it online.
Sure. Yeah, if you want to order it online, that'd be great. Yeah, I never even promote myself. You guys, I'm pathetic at that, but yes, you can come to that's zuzusenergy.com. That's our online store. But yeah.
Oh, beautiful. This is really wonderful. The other thing too, so I'm going to put this in a little short context along with the fiber, because um, I don't know that like with bulimia, it's not necessarily that you're hungry. It's just an emotional thing. So what I love
Mhm.
about that, when you're talking about changing your mind thought, it's like being at a store and you know they have the aisles and when you're sitting there and you're checking out, they make sure that there's product there that is for people who like just will do the spontaneous.
Mhm.
Bulimia is quite often that it's a spontaneous reaction to some emotional thing. And so I like what you were saying. If when you're thinking, okay, I really want to eat and I'm going to eat more, is to get your shift your brain.
Mhm.
I think that to my listeners, it's I think it's a great idea. And in fact, when I was first recovered, it's not that I had any desire to do it or anything, but when I was emotional, because that's the first thing you have to deal with when you stop your bulimia, because the bulimia was a mechanism to, you know, I guess, numb your emotions. So then when you don't have that numbness anymore. But that was very important for me to shift my thoughts in my emotions. I'm still working on it. Okay. That's been 15 years. I'm still working on the shift thing. But it really does make a difference. And I just absolutely love your message, Zuzu. I love your nickname, by the way. Um,
Thank you.
I really appreciate your time. Seriously, I really, really do. And like you, this to me, um, I love that I have my listeners every week. So obviously, I am reaching people out there, and I think that's important. Um, I don't get paid for this. I do this because it's a passion, and like you said, there's passion in what you're doing too, and I think that that's really wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, thank you. And yes, all of you out there, let's take you from confined to free state, and you can do it every day by asking those questions. So just start asking.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
You have a wonderful
Yes.
day, and I'm hoping to have you back again. We'll talk about the other chapter that you were saying that we could talk about.
Yes, that sounds good. Yes, yes, yes. We'll talk about all those different microbiomes.
But all right, have a great day.
You too.